silver. It is your silver.
Yo. We back in it. Let's go.
We're kicking off today with SmackDown as the Blue Brand's new era on the USA Network began with new graphics and a theme song, as well as Triple H appearing to hype up the Seattle crowd. The game got the fans pumped for the opening contest as undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes put his title on the line in a steel cage match with Solo Sikoa. Rhodes and Sikoa held nothing back and sent each other into the cage walls, with one of these attacks splitting Rhodes open in a rare bit of blood on WWE TV. Both tried to escape the cage, both through the door and over the top, and at one point, Sikoa appeared to hit an unintentional brainbuster from the walls of the cage. In the final stages of the match, Sikoa looked for a Samoan spike, which Rhodes countered and hit a crossroads for the victory, but as expected, the Bloodline attacked post-match. Jacob Fatu landed an impressive flipping splash off the top rope onto the already damaged champion before Solo ordered Fatu to go to the top of the cage, which he did. Suddenly, Roman Reigns' music hit, which stopped Fatu in his tracks, and the OTC got in the ring and closed the door behind him before wailing on the Bloodline. Just as Sikoa was about to strike, Roman nailed him with a Superman punch, and Fatu was able to get Solo out of the ring before Reigns could finish his cousin off with a spear. Roman told Fatu to get in the ring, which he did, and like the OTC, closed the door behind him and got himself all hyped up before Solo dragged him out of the cage. Immediately after, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa jumped Roman Reigns in the cage, but Cody Rhodes got back on his feet to take care of them, forming a surprising alliance between Rhodes and Reigns. SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis later told Kathy Kelly backstage
that we know everything that happened on SmackDown. We're not skipping the whole video, we're just skipping the SmackDown parts. Alright, then why so...
This week's SmackDown was certainly a huge show, and one fan in Seattle had an extra special moment thanks to Tama Tonga. Tonga momentarily broke character to seek help from a fan to get back up to his feet, a testament to the beatdown he received to close out SmackDown on the USA Network. So last night was not the night for Solo Sikoa, and despite WWE pushing him as someone worthy of challenging Cody Rhodes, he's yet to take the WWE title from the babyface. Unlike at SummerSlam, there was no interference last night, and Sikoa lost clean as a whistle in the steel cage match, but why exactly did WWE book him to come up short again? According to Fightful, WWE has bigger plans for a different member of the Bloodline, that being Jacob Fatu, and those plans will become manifest this November at Survivor Series. The current plan is for an old Bloodline versus new Bloodline match inside War Games, and not only will Sikoa's team lose, but it'll be Solo who eats the pinfall for his team. The plan would then see Fatu turn on Sikoa for his multiple losses and take him out of the Bloodline, establishing himself as the new tribal chief and putting him on the road to a feud with Roman Reigns. WWE has been working on this idea for some time, which is why the company kept Fatu and Reigns apart during the OTC's return to programming at SummerSlam in Cleveland. Just last week, Cody Rhodes said he wanted to face Jacob Fatu, but Fatu turned down the opportunity, and Nick Aldis booked the Rhodes-Sikoa match instead. WWE has clearly already started a slow push of Fatu, who during his short time with WWE has already caught the eye of the company's top babyface and reigning WWE champion. WWE wants Fatu to be seen as a name capable of facing Rhodes, but this planned push as the new tribal chief wouldn't happen had Sikoa won the title last night and kept Fatu as his heavy. But what did you make of the Solo Cody match? Do you think WWE's plans to establish Fatu as the new tribal chief will work? Let us know down in the comments.
Ladies, is your man dragging his feet at getting his wedding band? Manlybands.com has an
With a new season and a new home, it was fitting that SmackDown got a new theme song this week, as well as a new logo. Both the theme and the logo featured in the new opening video for the show, which includes top names including Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, L.A. Knight, The Bloodline, and Tiffany Stratton. The song in question is Megan Thee Stallion's Never Play, which features RM of BTS, and in a tweet, Stallion said, "I think it's finally time I make my debut." But what do you think of this new theme song and new logo? Do they scream SmackDown to you, or could they be better? Give us your thoughts in the comments.
I like it a lot.
More from SmackDown is after the show went off the air, World Heavyweight Champion Gunther put his title on the line in a dark match against Damian Priest. This proved to be a SummerSlam rematch, and earlier in the night, Gunther was spotted at ringside on SmackDown along with Ludwig Kaiser for the SmackDown season premiere. Before this match, Priest and Gunther had faced 4 times, with the Terror Twin losing all 4, and after SmackDown, Priest once again came up short when facing the Austrian. The match was a single-sided affair as Gunther dominated Priest for the most part, and WWE's booking hardly gave Priest a chance to shine in a strange booking decision. After all, Priest is supposed to be one of WWE's top stars, and while having him battered would have made more sense if he were a heel fans wanted to see get beat up, that isn't the case. While Gunther retaining in an untelevised match is hardly a surprise, the booking of Priest is. And should WWE have gone with somebody else against the World Heavyweight Champion? Gunther wasn't the only Imperium member in action after SmackDown, as Ludwig Kaiser faced off against Sheamus, but came up short against the Celtic Warrior. This makes Kaiser 0-2 against Sheamus in untelevised matches, while the pair are tied 1-1 on TV, though that hasn't led to anything bigger for the German, at least on Raw. On SmackDown, Kaiser answered LA Knight's challenge on the Bash in Berlin Go Home SmackDown but came up short, and many felt Kaiser should have gotten a bigger showcase. With that said, it seems to be the philosophy of the newer WWE regime to not have matches on PLEs unless there's a strong enough reason to, hence why Kaiser didn't get a PLE match in Germany. It'll be interesting to see how Kaiser vs. Sheamus 3 unfolds on television, and if it leads to bigger things for either man down the line. On SmackDown, Kevin Owens was scheduled to team with a mystery partner to face A-Town Down Under, with fans guessing as to who it would be. With Cody Rhodes occupied with Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline, the American Nightmare was out of the running, and Owens' partner was revealed on the show to be Ricky Gibson. Gibson is an indie talent of the Midnight Heat tag team who's worked for Prestige and Defy, as well as one match for AEW this year, but came out to little fanfare from the Seattle crowd. Owens said he had a different partner in mind, but they were dealing with travel difficulties, but the Gibson-Owens duo proved to be short-lived. After sharing that his preferred partner had just arrived, Owens thanked Ricky before giving him a stunner and welcomed Randy Orton back to the Blue Brand as the crowd went wild. A-Town Down Under dominated early on, even dumping Owens on the announce table, but in the end it was a stunner and an RKO that saw the Faces win as Orton pinned Grayson Waller. This was a simple but entertaining tag match, and Orton and Owens continue to be a crowd-pleasing duo with great chemistry. Given the importance of this week's SmackDown, there were plenty of special guests, and as the first hour of the show closed, RVD and his wife Katie Forbes were shown in the crowd. RVD has a history with the Blue Brand, as does Vicky Guerrero, who was also shown in the crowd, but these weren't the only stars in attendance. Hall of Fame couple Booker T and Sharmell were featured later on, as was Michael P.S. Hayes and Ron Simmons, alongside beloved former general manager Teddy Long. The last pair of notable names shown were current WWE producer Bobby Roode, as well as former NXT GM William Regal, as the stars were clearly out for SmackDown on USA. Next month, WWE NXT will move to the CW as part of the Gold Brand's biggest ever deal, and WWE is stacking the first 2 weeks of programming to get fans excited. The October 8th episode was set to take place from St. Louis, Missouri, and feature an appearance by hometown hero Randy Orton, but now plans have changed. WWE has announced that the show planned for the Enterprise Center in St. Louis has since been relocated to the factory at the District in Chesterfield, Missouri. Fans who have already purchased tickets can seek refunds or exchanges, and tickets for the Chesterfield show will go on sale on September 18th at noon Central via Ticketmaster. WWE has not explained why the move has happened, though some are theorizing that underwhelming ticket sales for WWE's third brand may be the reason. At max capacity, the Enterprise Center can hold 22,000 people, while the factory can hold 3,000 people, so it is much easier to fill with fans. Whatever the reason, the show is still expected to see Randy Orton, who will no doubt get a huge response, but just not in his hometown. With SmackDown's time on Fox at an end, fans are excited to see what changes and developments are coming to the Blue Brand going forward. Fightful Select reports that WWE are discussing changes to how shows end, and SmackDown will have more flexibility with its end time on USA Network. For the past 5 years, SmackDown has typically ended around 9:58 p.m. Eastern to avoid clashing with local news, but USA Network is generally more lenient on timing. NXT, which currently airs on USA, for example, often runs past 10 p.m., though it's reported that these overruns will end for NXT once the show goes to the CW. Many CW stations broadcast the news at 10 p.m., and therefore NXT will need to end at 9:59 p.m., putting a deadline on the talent that they've previously had a lot of leeway with. What's your view on WWE's plan to implement such changes to their programming for SmackDown and NXT? Do you feel these will help the company? Let us know down below. With regards to Raw, WWE confirmed earlier this year that the Red brand will move to Netflix in January 2025 for a 10-year deal valued at over $5 billion. This is a huge deal for WWE, but has raised questions about the company's relationship with Hulu, another streaming service, though one not as big as Netflix. According to Brian Alvarez in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, SmackDown's streaming contract with Hulu will conclude this week, and the show will be on Peacock from here on. For Raw, the show will remain on Hulu until the end of this year, but after that, it will transition to Netflix, who wanted the Red brand for more than just its exciting wrestling content. Alvarez adds that one of the key reasons Netflix pursued Raw was part of ongoing efforts to incorporate commercials into its platform, and WWE fans are used to seeing ads during shows. That makes Raw a natural fit for Netflix to feature ads, but the streaming giant will offer more flexibility to WWE regarding how commercials are implemented. WWE will have a greater say about the timing and length of commercials compared to traditional TV, in another huge change for the Red brand and how it operates. Over to NXT, which this week saw Jordynne Grace defend the TNA Knockouts World title against Sol Ruca, but their match ended when Wendy Choo and TNA's Rosemary got involved. The two decimated both competitors, leaving the match without a decisive conclusion, and this feud has bled over into TNA wrestling. Just before Victory Road, Grace informed the TNA liaison, Ariana Grace, that there would be ramifications if Wendy Choo crossed over to her territory and interfered in her business again. Despite this threat, Choo set her sights on Grace and appeared at Victory Road to challenge for the Knockouts World title, in the latest example of a TNA versus NXT clash at a PLE. This match had plenty of action between both women, but in the end, it was the Juggernaut who got the win, hitting Choo's shoulders to the mat to retain her title at Victory Road. What are your thoughts on WWE NXT's Wendy Choo making an appearance at TNA Victory Road 2024? Sound off in the comments.
My wife was murdered. No! I know who did it.
This week's NXT also saw a fantastic tag title match that was cut short. Speaking of the Bloodline, Rikishi has now shut down a rumor of a backstage confrontation between Jacob Fatu and Triple H. There were rumors recently of a heated confrontation between Triple H and Jacob Fatu after the decision to strip Fatu of the WWE Tag Team Championship. Solo Sikoa directed the enforcer to hand over his belt to Tonga Loa, making Loa one half of the Tag Team Champions along with Tama Tonga. Rikishi quickly dismissed these rumors of a conflict between Jacob Fatu and Triple H. On his podcast, Rikishi Fatu Off the Top, he emphasized that Fatu is very respectful and would never disrespect Triple H or any senior family members, including himself. He clarified that Fatu's character is not one to act disrespectfully, although he warned that crossing him would lead to a different outcome. We're gonna crush that rumor right now. Jacob would never ever disrespect Triple H, period. Nor would he disrespect me, anybody older in our family, or even his own cousins. Or even the workers there. That's not in the kid's bones. Now if you cross that kid, it's a whole new different story. Jacob Fatu continues to utterly dominate the WWE landscape with the rest of the Bloodline. Regardless, it's good to know that there was no truth to such rumors. Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes may have been the main event of the first SmackDown on USA, but it was the fifth match in a personal rivalry between the two. Andrade won the first two matches while Hayes took matches 3 and 4 to tie things, and perhaps wanting to build off this momentum, Hayes jumped Andrade before the bell rang this week. Hayes controlled the pace of the match after this attack and seemed to have an answer for every attempted comeback, and like their previous matches, this was a show stealer.
I mean,
Both men tried to make this match feel different, a difficult task when you've competed 4 times before. And in the end, a middle rope spinning neckbreaker got Andrade the win. Following the match, US champion LA Knight came out to congratulate Andrade and also announced that general manager Nick Aldis has named Andrade the US title #1 contender. The megastar was confident he'll retain, and the two will face off next week on SmackDown in Knight's first title defense since beating Ludwig Kaiser on the SmackDown before Bash in Berlin. After losing to Chelsea Green last week, Michin sought revenge when she faced Piper Niven and used a kendo stick on Green before Niven took her down with a senton from the apron. After a nice superplex though, Michin scored the quick win with Eat Defeat, but this was too short, and a post-match attack on Michin made it feel like her win meant nothing. After beating Michin on a street fight on the August 30th SmackDown, Nia Jax is looking ahead to her next challenger and had an interesting proposition this week about a match at Bad Blood. Halfway into SmackDown, Jax took to the mic to reveal that she'll defend her WWE Women's title at Bad Blood, as requested by Nick Aldis, and was interrupted by Bayley. The role model demanded a rematch and drew the ire of Tiffany Stratton, and it seemed a 2-on-1 beatdown was coming until Naomi backed up Bayley. Naomi also brought up a desire to hold singles gold in WWE again, and with that in mind, the Queen of the Ring decreed a unique tag team match was made for next week's show. Should Naomi and Bayley win, the woman who scores the pinfall or submission win will challenge Jax for the title at Bad Blood. If Stratton and Jax win though, whichever of the faces who receives the pinfall or submission loss will be banished from SmackDown permanently, and Bayley and Naomi agreed to the terms. This is a huge high-stakes match that fans will get to see next week. And who do you think will face Nia Jax at WWE Bad Blood? Let us know in the comments.
They said they don't want nobody.
And we're ending with Matt Riddle, and since his release from WWE,
they don't want nobody to beat Nia Jax until Charlotte Flair returns. I think Charlotte Flair is going to be the one to dethrone Nia Jax. I felt that one that was imminent. I just want her to hold the championship for a while. Not gonna lie, I only ever like when the 4 Horsemen women win. I'm taking Bayley out. I'm keep Becky Lynch in. I know I don't like her titlerings, but she does have notoriety and popularity that the others don't. So I like when Becky Lynch wins. When Charlotte Flair wins, and when Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné wins. Those are the go-tos I think should win now. I like when they do win. Ranked 12 followed me 7 hours ago. Appreciate you, bro. I think he followed me. He wanted me to use his code on Fortnite.